This is Schrodinger's enterprise. Was your delivery on strategy, and how do you know? Again, we'll let folks trickle in here, and we'll get started in about 15 seconds or so. All righty, here we go. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, I guess, depending on where you are around the world. Maybe happy Friday, depending on how late you're staying up to join us today. This is Schrodinger's enterprise. Was your delivery on strategy, and how do you know? My name is Alex Glabman. I'm a director of product management at Appfire, and I think it's only appropriate for me to kick things off to ensure that we're all on the same page, whether you're joining live today or you're watching this recording at a later date. And we'll get started by talking about, well, we have Schrodinger's enterprise. Let's talk about Schrodinger's cat. Let's make sure that we're all on the same page here about the thought experiment in quantum physics that was initially proposed by Erwin Schrödinger, so Austrian physicist. Erwin Schrödinger, he's most famous for his thought experiment, again, related to quantum physics. It began with the idea of placing a cat inside of a box. Not just any box, but a steel chamber. Now, back in 1935, when he first wrote about this, remember, that's nearly 90 years ago. No one was really getting canceled, which meant that people could freely talk about sealing live animals and cats into boxes that may or may not contain radioactive substances without fear of offending or losing their audience. However, today is not 90 years ago, and today the presenting animal lover before you will use a slightly different example to explain the scientific theory that relates to quantum physics here. So instead of Schrodinger's cat, today we're going to be going with Schrodinger's caterpillar. And in this case, Schrodinger's caterpillar, the caterpillar, I'd like you to imagine, if you will, a thought experiment. If you were to take a happy, healthy caterpillar from which you have received full consent to participate in this experiment, and take this caterpillar and place it inside of a natural, recycled, unlined, air-dried cardboard box. So we have a happy caterpillar with consent. We place the caterpillar in a au natural cardboard box. And within this cardboard box, in addition to the caterpillar, imagine if we would place an organic, vegan, whole grain slice of avocado toast. And what I'd like you to know that in this thought experiment, imagine that when caterpillars eat avocado toast, they have a 50% chance of metamorphosis within the next 60 minutes. So we take a caterpillar, we put it in a box, put some avocado toast in there, and within an hour, we have a 50% chance of that caterpillar changing states, becoming a butterfly. So in an hour, we have these two options. It's either we open the box and we see that there's a caterpillar, or we open the box and we see that metamorphosis has occurred and we have a wonderful, happy, excited butterfly. So now, hopefully everyone is with us with this thought experiment. If I were to ask you the question, okay, well, knowing that you've placed a caterpillar in a box with this magical avocado toast, in an hour, tell me, what would the state of the caterpillar be? Now, common sense, I think, would lead you to answer that, well, in an hour, we either have our happy, healthy caterpillar or we have a butterfly, right? But Schrödinger would argue that until the box is opened, until the moment right before you open the box, according to quantum physics, our caterpillar, who is happy and healthy and has fully consented to this experiment, our caterpillar is in fact equal parts caterpillar and butterfly at the same time. Until the box is open, right before the caterpillar is equal parts caterpillar and butterfly at the same time. Only once you look inside, it's only when the box is opened that we would see a single definite state. Until then, our caterpillar is in this state of probability. It's half one thing or half another. Now that we're all caught up with Schrodinger's caterpillar, this thought process, let me ask each and every one of you, are your teams currently delivering on strategy? And how do you know? Well, much like Schrodinger's caterpillar thought experiment, you may not know until you open the box. You see, the key is to actually look, to gain visibility. And today, what I'd like to give you all is 3 tips, just three easy tips on using visibility to help your teams deliver on strategy. And as I provide these tips, I'd like to highlight a few of the many solutions that we at Appfire provide to people like you who are looking to improve practices, starting with planning all the way through delivery. So I won't spend too much time talking about Appfire, but from a high-level perspective, we've been in business 17 years. We have Agile expertise. We've been a partner since 2007. Today, we offer more than 200 apps across 9 different solution areas to happy, friendly caterpillars like you all. Again, I told you I'd come back to this. My name's Alex. I'm a director of product management here at Appfire. I'm currently in Chicago, but I've spent the last 12 years building teams and solutions that are focused on enhancing work delivery, and mostly by using lean and agile methodologies. And over that period of time, I've had the unique opportunity to interact with customers, clients, and those that are using these activities and practices to enhance their work delivery. Whether those activities or practices are focused around collaboration or prioritization, perhaps it's in an effort to achieve ideal scheduling or better manage the work management process. Maybe they're seeking process improvement. I've had the opportunity to experience, observe, and translate these activities and practices into awesome software solutions that focus on the exact same concept. So software solutions that are intended to provide ideation sourcing, intended to help with brainstorming and collaboration, work breakdown and prioritization, intended to improve priority and scheduling, that focus on work tracking and process management, providing data along the way for process improvement. And over the years, in doing this and interacting with customers and clients and prospects, one thing that I've determined is key and crucial and really important to making anything like this work is visibility. Visibility was always key in ensuring success, regardless of the use case. Now, let's take a moment to try to understand why that might be. Did you know that 90% of information processed by our brains is visual information? Did you know that we as humans can process visual data 60,000 times faster than we can text? It's the reason why we come to an intersection and instead of seeing a scrolling message hanging above the street that says, hey, please stop your vehicle there at the white line and wait for cross traffic to clear the intersection before you safely observe the intersection and decide to move forward. Instead of that, we see a red light. And from the red light, we get that message immediately. Side note, I don't know if you've seen this. Sometimes the green light will flash a couple times before it turns yellow, and then yellow will flash before it turns red. I think that's very cool. We don't have that in Chicago. I wish we did. But yeah, humans can process visual data 60,000 times faster than text. So that age-old phrase of a picture is worth 1,000 words is actually an understatement. Visual information is it's like candy for our brains. It's what our brains want. It's what our brains crave. It's what we process the most of and what we are best at processing. Again, 90% of information that we process is visual, and we can process visual information 60,000 times faster than we can text. So when we're trying to communicate with other people, be it in our personal lives, our professional lives, it can be helpful to do so in visual ways, right? Think about how much body language adds to what we say. So here we go. I'll give you an example here. If I say to you, and I'll try to use the same tone both times, wow, you did a great job, versus, wow, that was not the right wow. Wow, you did a great job. Body language and visual cues play a large role in that. So when we try to communicate important concepts within our organizations, across our teams, concepts like our strategies, our goals, objectives, our roadmaps, our priorities, our statuses, progresses, problems. Think about how that's done today. Is it being done visually? Because if it isn't, maybe you're experiencing miscommunications, and miscommunications can be expensive. We looked into it, and we found that an organization with a size of 100 employees is wasting, due to miscommunications, $420,000 annually. Miscommunications cost organizations of around 100 employees an average of $420K annually. Now, that's just 100 employees. If your organization is larger than that, it's costing you even more. So the organizations that are really nailing their communication are the ones succeeding, while those poor communication techniques, those who have or are experiencing poor communication techniques, or using poor communication techniques, typically have issues like missed deadlines, lower employee engagement, lack of confidence in managers. They simply aren't as effective in delivering on strategy. So again, today, I'm going to give you 3 tips on using visibility. And again, visibility, we've determined, is, as humans, our preferred method of communication. 3 tips on using visibility to help your teams deliver on strategy. And again, as I said, as we go through, we'll give you examples of how we at Appfire can help you accomplish that visibility tip. So our first tip today is focused on goals and objectives. Now, ideally, your organization has set a strategy. They've planted a flag. They've pointed atop a mountain and said, that's where we want to be. That's us in a couple years. That's who we want to be known as. If you don't have that from your organization, I'd encourage you to go press your leaders and say, hey, what's our strategy? If you're in the room and or listening to this and you are those leaders, I'd encourage you, go figure out what your strategy is and communicate that. Because my first tip is that from that strategy, you visualize your goals and objectives to achieve that strategy. So you take your strategy and say, okay, well, we know where we want to be. We know what we're trying to become, what we want to be known as. Let's lay out some goals or objectives to help us get there. And so today we'll be talking about big picture, which is one of our largest and most powerful applications focused on project and portfolio management. Now, we've heard it before that personal goals, it's really important for them to be visual. Sometimes it's recommended that you hang them up on the wall. Sales organizations like to hang up their sales numbers on big dashboards to keep everyone accountable. If you've seen Ted Lasso on Apple TV, you know that a college football coach who has been signed to coach soccer, football, enters his locker room and hangs up this sign that says believe. He believes in believe. And he wants to ensure that his team and teammates see that message, see that goal, that objective each and every single day when they walk into the locker room. Now, I'll provide one more example, one more story here on the power of visibility. And I promise that's my last one. We'll get into actual examples. But my last example or story today has to do with a Vietnam veteran and prisoner of war, Colonel George Robert Hall. And Colonel Hall was an Air Force pilot who was shot down over North Vietnam in 1965, actually September 27th. So a couple days ago, 57 years ago, 57 years ago from a couple days ago. And as a prisoner of war, Hall was sociologically and physically tortured and held in solitary confinement for weeks and months without any contact to the outside. So 7.5 years of his life were spent mostly confined in a 7.5-foot prison cell. Now, what I haven't mentioned is that one of Colonel Hall's passions in life before he joined the Air Force, before he became a prisoner of war, was golf. He loved to golf. Before his time in Vietnam, he had gotten himself down to a 4 handicap in golf. Now, I'm not a golfer, but I've been told that's good. That's a score. That's the result of a round of playing, and 4 is pretty impressive. So as a prisoner of war, Hall used his passion to his advantage. He visualized his passion each and every single day. So over the course of his 7 years as a prisoner of war, he would visualize and picture himself playing golf. He visualized himself getting dressed for golf, putting on his socks, pants, shoes, t-shirt, shirt, golf shirt, picking up his golf cap and bag and heading to his local course. He pictured himself playing each and every hole at his favorite course without overlooking a single sight or sound, paying attention to each and every stroke. He visualized writing down the score after each hole. He pictured the fairways, the greens, the trees, the roughs. He visualized his stance, his swing, the position of his wrists. He watched the ball. He watched where he wanted the head of his club to strike the ball. Colonel Hall used the power of visualization to maintain his passion and connection to golf throughout his time in captivity. In February of 1973, again, captured in 65, released February 1973. So when he was released in February of 1973, one of the first things that he wanted to do was play golf. So it had been over 7 years since he last played. And in those 7 years, Hall had lost over 100 pounds. He'd lost most of his muscle mass. But in March 73, again, released February 73, in March, late March 73, 6 weeks after his release, he was invited to play in a Pro-Am Open in New Orleans, where he accepted and played and shot his handicap of 4. Now, this was amazing. And this is a true story, by the way. Hall was asked by the press, who were amazed, how were you able to perform so well? He jokingly said to them, well, he didn't think that he performed that well. He said that it was the worst he had seen himself play in over 7 years. Because he had been visualizing himself perfectly playing round after round of golf. So all this to say, visualization is a really powerful concept. So when our teams and organizations set direction, goals, strategy, maybe objectives and key results, it's important that we do our best to visualize those concepts for others to see and take cues from. So here we have a view within big picture where we've outlined high-level objectives for our organization. So again, we've been given an organizational strategy. We've said, okay, from that strategy, let's outline some objectives and key results. And we're visualizing them here within Big Picture so that our teams have clarity on where to focus their planning and efforts. Now, these objectives are focused on their year-long objectives. So we can see those that are underway, what their progress is within 2022. And then we start to see our objectives that are being formed for the following year of 2023. Now, the objectives that we've set in that previous screen, those objectives can actually help influence team level objectives. So again, strategy informed the objectives that we created. And then from those organizational objectives, teams said, okay, well, I understand where we're trying to go as an organization. Let me set some team level objectives so that we can ensure our team heads in the right direction that helps our organization head in the direction of our strategy. And since Big Picture sits on top of one or multiple instances of Jira, we can connect epics or issues within Jira to these objectives so that teams can plan for and clearly see how their efforts relate to important goals and objectives. So here we have those objectives, but below that we have actual issues or epics, stories that are coming from Jira that are showing that relation of, okay, well, our objective is 74% complete. Why is that? Well, let's look at the items that relate directly to that objective. So organization had strategy. From that strategy, we said, all right, let's set goals and objectives. Tip number 2 comes from those goals and objectives. Tip number 2 is to visualize your outcome-driven plans to deliver on those goals and objectives. So you have your goals and objectives. You say, okay, we know where we want to go. We know how we're going to do that. Let's break down that strategy, those goals, into an actual plan that can help us achieve the outcome that we want to see. So I'm going to walk through a couple examples here. 2 of the examples are going to focus on visually building those plans, while one example, we're going to come back to Big Picture for that, is going to talk about and show how we can visually communicate that plan throughout delivery and execution. So we're going to talk about whiteboards first, and whiteboards is another product of ours at Appfire. It's an awesome whiteboarding product that allows individuals to connect and collaborate in real time in a shared space in a variety of different ways, whether it's brainstorming, retrospectives, sprint planning, estimating activities. Our first example here with whiteboards is going to actually be focused on taking our goals and objectives and using that to create a roadmap. So for teams that understand the organization's strategy, or for teams that have set objectives and key results, and are looking to accomplish outcome-driven planning, you can use whiteboards, which is directly connected to your work delivery solution, in this case, Jira, to create roadmaps. You can use either an existing roadmap template within whiteboards, or you can create your own to build a roadmap and visually communicate it out to your organization. So you can connect with your teammates using just the board or using built-in video and audio capabilities. Whiteboards allows you to plan, replan, post comments, draw, everything that you would expect from an advanced whiteboarding tool, and you can do it all in real time. Now, that's a visual roadmap example, roadmap planning. Another example that we have within whiteboards is, okay, well, we have a roadmap and we have objectives. Let's engage in program increment planning. So kind of a near-term view of time box planning. So not as low as the sprint level, but maybe multiple sprints. What are we going to do in our next program increment? So within whiteboards, you can clearly visualize your program increment objectives, and then take your perhaps epics that you've outlined or features and start to break them all down into smaller items of work on one shared board, continuing to do so and highlighting dependencies as you go. Within this whiteboard and PI planning template, you can begin to bubble up risks to a Rome board to provide added visibility to your leadership of anything that might get in the way to accomplishing your objectives. And remember, because Whiteboards has a deep integration with Jira, you can set these boards up so that at the end of your sessions, the position of work items on the whiteboard ensures that they belong to the right team in Jira, automatically updating key fields such as program increment, sprint, assigned user, state, etc. So it's a really powerful tool that can help teams visually build that plan needed to help execute on their strategy and their goals. Now, the next app I'd like to talk about is Agile Poker. And Agile Poker it helps teams with facilitating discussion during estimation or planning sessions to make sure the effort, complexity, risk, or any other value used for planning is estimated properly while taking into consideration different views from all participants involved. Now, it's similar to the concept of planning poker, except it's intended to be used to achieve clarity on larger items you're still trying to determine, or larger items that you're trying to determine if they fit within your plans, your program level plans or not. So sometimes when you're trying to build plans to accomplish goals to help you deliver on strategy, you need to consider various options or paths. And in order to decide which effort to invest in, you might require input from various folks across the organization. How would these efforts affect engineering, marketing, sales, etc.? Agile Poker helps you visually facilitate that discussion, ensuring that you choose the best approach based on what's currently known across your teams. And then lastly, we'll come back to big picture one more time with an example of what happens once a plan is complete. So again, we've taken strategy, broken strategy down into goals or objectives. We're looking at those goals and objectives, and we've said, okay, let's come up with a plan of how we are going to deliver against those goals and objectives. And what we're looking at here is how within big picture, team members can easily visualize efforts and how those efforts are related across teams, either within the current window of execution or across multiple planned time boxes. So on the left-hand side here, we see a single program increment in different teams and how the work that they're planning or executing is related to work across other teams. And then on the right-hand side, we see the same thing, multiple teams, but we also see different parts of that iteration. So at any point in time, team members can visually understand, how does my work impact others, or what's impacting my work? So far, we've taken strategy, we've broken it down visually into goals and objectives. We've taken those goals and objectives, and from there, visually created outcome-driven plans. The third tip that we have today, and the last tip that we have today, is focused on visualizing progress and problems along the way. And we want to visualize progress and problems to ensure that strategy-related work is executed according to plan. We've taken the time to create those goals and objectives, break them down into plans. Now we're executing. We want to ensure that as we execute, things are going according to plan. And if there are any problems, that we surface that information really quickly so that we can make decisions and change things as needed. So again, I'm going 3 for 3 with big picture today, but I'm also going to talk about another application of ours, Dashboard Hub, and we'll start with that one. Now at Appfire, we have a whole category of applications dedicated to business intelligence and reporting, from Tableau and Power BI connectors to Arsenal data plane. But today we're highlighting Dashboard Hub, which allows you to quickly visualize and share progress and issues through the use of either predefined dashboard templates or custom charts. It's a central hub for all of your products in the Atlassian ecosystem, such as Jira Software, Jira Service Management, status page, Ops Genie, Insight, Confluence, Bitbucket, and using one of the 70 plus different gadgets that are available within Dashboard Hub, you can easily configure different views that are important to different groups of people. So here we're showing reporting for an IT service management department and what their efforts look like across several projects from a department level. While here we've created more of a portfolio level report showing statuses and key information for various projects that are either planned or have already started and are in progress. Now, again, the beauty of Dashboard Hub is that it gives you the ability to easily connect to your data and create visual dashboards that mean the most to you and your teams. So again, here we have a portfolio level dashboard that helps folks understand different projects, what their statuses are, what the timelines associated with those projects are, how key stakeholders that might be shared across different projects are currently being utilized, et cetera. And lastly, again, we'll bring it home with our project and portfolio management suite, Big Picture. Of course, Big Picture has visual reports to help you understand the status of projects and resources. But one thing that I'd like to show is Big Picture's ability to surface risks. So here we have a risk matrix where teams can quickly bubble up issues that might threaten our overall ability to deliver on our plans, which were built from our goals and objectives, which, as we've covered by now, were driven from our strategy. So having information like this visualized throughout execution, as opposed to simply having it pop up in post-execution retrospectives, allows teams to quickly course correct to ensure that in the event that what's being delivered doesn't exactly match the plan, we can ensure that it's in line with what our overall direction is. So it kind of gives us, it's shortening feedback loops, right? It's allowing teams to elevate that information so that we can make quick and minor adjustments to ensure that we're staying within the guardrails that we've set for our strategy. So to summarize, teams that are looking, or organizations that are looking to confirm that they're in fact delivering on strategy, need to start with looking. As we talked about, visibility is key. It's how we as humans naturally and efficiently process data. When we take our overall strategy and break it down into our goals and objectives visually to drive our plans, we need to remember how important that concept of visualization is, and doing so at each step along the process. Visualize where you're going, visualize how you plan to get there, visually communicate your progress and problems along the way. We'd love for you to use whiteboards, Big Picture, Agile Poker, Dashboard Hub, or any of the 200 plus apps that we offer at Appfire. We'd love to talk to you more about them. We'd love to answer any questions that you might have on how to visualize at any step along the way to help you deliver on strategy. So if you do have questions, feel free to submit them. We'll try to answer them. But if we don't have time, or if we're looking for a more in-depth demonstration of any of our products, I'd encourage you to hop on over to our virtual booth. We'd be happy to set up a one-on-one, maybe a more deep dive demonstration of any of our products. If you have any questions for me, again, my name is Alex Glabman. You can email me at alex.glabman@appfire.com. Be happy to connect with you and answer any questions that you might have. If you're looking for sessions that are coming up next, there they are at the bottom. Again, this was Schrodinger's Enterprise. Was your delivery on strategy? And how do you know? Again, the key was visualization. So I'll take a moment here to groom through any of the questions that we may have submitted, or we'll field any questions that you might have For those that are not sticking around for the question portion, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And if you do have any questions, even if you're not able to stick around, feel free to message me either email or through the conference platform. Be happy to connect. You know, I don't disagree with April when she says that caterpillars are juveniles and incapable of providing informed consent. So, good point.
That was excellent. Thank you. There's not a lot of questions here, but hopefully people won't be shy and turn up to the booth there and grab a bit of your time.
That sounds good to me. For those that are still around, if you do have any questions, they can drop them in the chat, or is there a Q&A portion? What's the best way to ask questions for those that might have them? Question that came in. What do you do when you don't have goals from the organization? That is a good question. So again, as we mentioned at the beginning, our goals and objectives from our organization, they're driven by our organization's strategy. So the first question I would ask is, does your organization have a strategy? And if it's not defined clearly as a strategy, is there a mission? Is there an overall value statement of who they want to be, where they want to go, what they're trying to accomplish? And if you don't have goals from the organization, I would start to create them. I would look to create either team level goals and try to connect those to the overall strategy, and encourage leaders to create goals and to pass those goals down, because we need direction in order to understand that we're doing our best work. So if you don't have goals and you're in a position to create them, create those goals. If you don't have goals and you're not in a position to create them, make it well known that you're looking for goals. You're looking for direction in terms of what you can best be doing to help your organization deliver on its strategy. Another answer to that is try out whiteboards. Get together on a collaborative visual space and see if you can brainstorm a couple goals and try to get buy-in and consent from your team so that you all are aligned on what the most important things to focus on are. Yeah, I meant to say this at the beginning of my talk. I do not consider myself an expert on quantum physics. I merely decided to use Schrodinger's cat as a vehicle for my presentation today. So please don't see me as an expert. Any questions that you have related to that are probably best answered by someone else. So shifting the mindset from some project to product within an organization, that can be easy or it can be difficult. It really depends on the size of your organization. Of course, the larger that it is, the larger any ship is, the harder it is to turn or to steer. I don't know if I have an exact answer as to the best way to shift an organization from project to product, other than the same way to kind of eat an elephant. We got to do it one bite at a time. So any opportunity that we have to make small improvements, whether it's building an internal change agent or finding like-minded folks who want to see that change from project to product. And it also depends on where you are within the organization, if you have the ability to impact that directly or indirectly. So it's a good question. It's not something that I think I have a silver bullet for you, but I do think that it's important. I do think it's important to kind of change the way that we think about our products and how we go to market, because At the end of the day, it's really about how we deliver the right experiences for our customers, whoever our customers are. And we can do so in a better, more efficient way by kind of making that change within our organization. So sorry if I don't have a great answer for you, but I do agree that it's the right question to be asking. So I don't see many other questions. Thanks for the kind words, everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed. Thanks for spending time with us. If you do have any other questions, again, feel free to hop on over to our virtual booth. We'd be happy to set up a one-on-one or set up a more in-depth product demonstration. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to message me through the JiraCon platform or send me an email, alex.glabman@appfire.com. Thanks again, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of your conference. And yeah, happy Thursday.